Alright everybody, this is going to be part 3 of the air ride install, which will probably be the last video. Plans are to have this tank mounted, airline ran, power lines ran. I'm going to start out first. I'm going to run the power line and I'll show you how it's going to go. But I wanted to do a quick update. I messaged Pro Civic just out of the blue, just to kind of see about these pigtails and the power distribution block. Well, they messaged TruHart. TruHart says originally that power distribution block is no longer included. So I just got a little amp wire up kit so I could use that power distribution block, have extra power wire and everything like that for later. And then I also asked them about these pigtails. Well, originally TruHart had said that those pigtails weren't needed. That's what they told Pro Civic. Well, I sent Pro Civic a picture of that. They in turn messaged the picture to TruHart, and TruHart has got me a whole new set of pigtails coming out. Now, they also said that they were going to send me a video, or not a video, but a picture of how I'm supposed to mount those. So, me being me, my concern, I went ahead and messaged TruHart and asked them how exactly they're supposed to go. Now, they're supposed to go like this, but the pigtails are supposed to be kind of like short, long, short, long, short, long, all the way down. And, which I'll include that picture with the video also. Right after, you know, this little clip, I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. But, for now, I'm just going to leave this one in until those fittings get here, which that was Monday, I believe I spoke to them about the stuff, and the parts are supposed to be here Thursday, which today is Wednesday, so they're supposed to be here tomorrow. So even though I bought this kit in like February or March, not only did Pro Civic go out of their way to help continue, you know, answering questions, but TruHart did as well. So I'd have to definitely say check out both companies. Pro Civic, if you got a Honda, if you have any other import, check out Pro Import. Or if you have a new model Civic, Sirimoto.com, which I'll put some of the links in the description. No, I'm not sponsored by those guys at all, but the customer service with them and TruHart as well was actually really good, especially considering, you know, hey, I bought the kit like March, April, something like that, and it's October now. And I'm finally getting it all set up and done. So, yeah, I mean, that they went above and beyond on all that. So, like I said, check them out. But anyway, back to what I was going to do. I'm going to get all this set in the trunk. I'm going to show you how I'm going to run the power line. I'll probably do the power line first, that way when these parts get here I can go ahead and just take this off and get it swapped out like it's supposed to be. Then I'll mount all this, which y'all will get to see all of it a little bit at a time. But anyways, I'm going to show you how I'm going to go ahead and mount that power wire. I'm not going to run it like I originally said off the fuse block, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Alright, we're back. Now, originally I said that I was going to take this power wire and I was going to run it right there where I have those others. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and I will tie it in right there with the battery. The reason in doing that is because it has this fuse, and the fuse is a lot closer to the end than I really thought it was going to be. So I'll just tuck the fuse in like that. The wiring will be ran through the original wiring harness underneath the battery, through the firewall, and this will tuck right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my battery off, make my battery tender off, and I'm going to run this through the firewall. And when I get the battery out and everything like that, I'll show you what you need to do to get that done. So give me just a minute. Alright, I got my battery and everything out of the way, and let me show you what I've come across to be a rare part on Hondas nowadays, the plastic tray. Anyway, get the tray out of the way, and you've got 12mm right there, and you're supposed to have 2 right there, but I've only got 1. So you take them out and that tray will come right out. Give me a second, I'll get that out and I'll show you where I'm on the power line. Alright, so I've got the tray out. Like I said, it was a bolt here, and then one down there, and one right there. Which I need to clean up all this leaves and crap out of here again. As far as running the power wire, you could run through there, or there's a rubber grommet right there you could run. I really don't like cutting my grommets no more than I have to. I really don't want to cut the main one for the ECU just in case water wants to drip in and run in. So I'll probably go in the bottom. Sorry. Anyway, I said I don't like cutting holes no more than I have to in my grommets. So what I'll probably do, instead of using that one because it's angled down, I don't want to risk water leaking underneath my hood or something and running down in there. So I'll probably just poke a hole, cut a slit right there through the bottom of that one, and run my power wire through. So let me go ahead and get that done, and I'll be right back. Alright, I went ahead and just cut a slit before the edge of the boot, slid it through, left about maybe a foot or so, if that. Anyway, we run it through the firewall, and it's going to follow wiring harness way up underneath there, so you're going to have to stick your hand in a little bitty hole to reach it through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it in and run it all the way along this plastic trim, all the way through the back and into the trunk. And then I'm going to remount my ECU, battery, everything like that. So I'm going to get all this ran, and then I'll be back. Alright, my power wire's ran. I just got to fix that one spot right there under the trim and up front. I already took all the trim, but I got it run all the way back here to the back, as you can see. The next step, of course, will be I'll find somewhere to mount the distribution block underneath the carpet and everything like that. Somewhere a good spot on the frame. Tie it into with that. On this fitting right here, eyelet, which I'll have to cut that eyelet back off. And then after that's all ran, and that's secured, not touching anything metal where it will ground out, I'll reconnect it to the battery. But for now, that's what we've got done. Here in a bit, I'm going to try to mount the tank, go ahead and get it run and everything like that, and then after that it'll be just the airlines. So hang on for me. I'll show you what we got going next. I got the power wire distribution block hooked up. Got the fitting, put the Allen, find an Allen head like I was supposed to, Allen wrench, and just stuck it in there and tighten it down. Next, I just got to get all the lines ran for the tank. Power wires ran under the carpet and everything like that. Moved out of the back seat where I can move the tank back that way some. And hook the power distribution wire up for it. And then I got to run the key 12 volt hot, and that's it on that. Well, and the ground, of course. And then it's going to be drill a few small holes and run my airlines. And program the controller, and we're set. If I get on any more of that today, I'll show you. If not, then it'll be when I get back. But that's where we're at right now. Alright, I went ahead and hooked up the distribution block to all the wiring back here. Then I've taken all the wiring that so far needs to go to the front. I bundled it up, stretched it out. I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap it real tight. Make a harness out of it. But one thing I have found, and it may just be the tape, I doubt it, is those plugs don't fit in worth a fuck. So you may actually have to trim the edges of the plugs down, the black parts themselves, make them fit better. Which I'll work on that once I get this set in the car. And I'll do one at a time to make them fit. That way I don't lose where they go. But other than that, all I'm going to do is just wrap these wires up and I'm going to go from there. I'll show you that when I get it done. Alright, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's an all new day. Alright, these are all my wires that I got to run to the front. Those are the pressure sensor wires and the wiring for the Evo controller here. Now, one thing, like I said, I figured out, these fittings right here are too wide. They don't fit down into these slots. So what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do is I'm going to actually have to trim the black part down off each one of those down the sides. So basically, those will fit. But for right now, what I'm fixing to do is I've got my center console pulled out all the way to the front. I'm going to tuck these wires. I'm going to raise the seat back up some. I'm going to remove the bottom of the seat cushion out of the back seat, and I'm going to run the wiring underneath the seat, underneath the carpet, through there, next to all the e-brake stuff. Make sure it's not going to get in the way. Run it down along the edge, probably, and up there to the front. So when I get that done, I'll show you how it's done, or how it looks. So give me a minute. Alright, I got that ran. It's ran under there. Through here on the passenger side under the carpet, and it's run up and tucked into there. Now I just got to I gotta hook up the ground for the screen and the switches and all that crap, and then I have to run the power wire. I gotta find a 12-volt power source for the red wire there, and then I gotta hook up all the switches, plug all these gauges into the back of that, which everything's not set in right now. It's just kind of pre-ran. I got to take these. I got to trim the black housings off of each one of these one piece at a time, or one at a time. That way I can get it plugged in, and hopefully I don't lose where it goes on the harness and don't get it all mixed up, because that's a lot of stuff to unwire or fix and go back and forth with. But anyway, that's what I've got so far. I'll still have to make another 12-volt keyed ignition power wire, run it from the yellow wire underneath my steering column to the trunk, to the pressure switch, and that other switch that I had that I showed you before. But other than that, it's run a ground and 2 hots, and I'm done with the wiring. And then all I gotta do is start running airlines, which I'll run the airlines the same way I did the power line. I'll run them the driver front through the passenger body paneling. Driver side will go through the driver's, of course, and then the trunks will be tied in through the trunk from the tank, looped over through under the carpet, everything like that. Drill a hole where the fittings are and run it in. And then all I'll have to do is the airline for the train horn, and I'll run it. I'm not sure which side I'm gonna run it out. Probably run it through the passenger side along with the passenger front. Then I gotta make, power wire and ground for the train horn horn button. And then that's it. I'll show you when I get the next step done. Alright, so I went ahead and I connected all my grounds. I've got them tied into the seat frame, which is a really good ground spot I've used on other items, stereos, stuff like that. I just took all the eyelets out, pulled that 10mm bolt out, run them through there, tighten it back up. So all my grounds are taken care of back here. Now I just got to make that one more line that goes to the pressure switch, to the 12-volt ignition, keyed ignition. So when I get done with all that, I will get back with you. Alright, now I've got my wired 12-volt ran, or keyed 12-volt, single red wire run under the carpet. The switches are tied into it. As far as power, then the ground is on that middle frame. and it's run up, it's tied back in and all that mess. So now I'm just gonna hook up the battery and we're gonna test it, see if I get any power. Wish me luck. All right, here we go. See if I get some power to my... And we got power. I have no pressure switches or any pressure switches hooked up yet, but I do have power. So let's see what we got going back here on the tank. See why it ain't kicked on. All right, give me a minute. Okay, so everything in the front powered up. This back here didn't. I put the meter on it, and apparently my ground spot right here wasn't working that great as ground this time. So I'm gonna move some things around. I'm gonna look around, see if I can find me somewhere else that I can ground this out to real quick. And when I get it done, you know the routine, I'll be back. Alright, I got my new ground hooked up. I got it on that little piece of frame right in there. If I can get all this to move now, I'll show you. Well, damn, I got it wedged in there somehow. But anyway, it's right in there on that. Already tested it with 12 volt. Or tested it with my meter at 12 volts on there. So let's turn the key and see what we get. Now maybe, hopefully the compressor will kick on like it's supposed to. Of course, ain't got no fittings hooked up yet, so it's just gonna blow out. But let's give it a try, hope for the best. Huh, okay, one of my wires came off of my compressor. And everything's working. Alright, now all we can do is wire it up. I run Airlines. I'm gonna start on that and show you what I'm gonna do when we get there. Alright everybody, so remember yesterday, earlier in the video, I showed you where all these wouldn't fit because these pieces were just too wide. Well, I got to looking last night on YouTube, try to find anybody else that had a Vera system like this, and it's almost non-existent really finding anybody that's got a video. One of the other YouTubers I did find and I'm subscribed to, he has the D2 set up. Well, his sensors don't have this black part at all. It's the wire right here, and then you can see the wiring colors, and then the plug. So that gave me the idea to go ahead and just trim these kind of flat all the way down. Now you want to be extra careful when you do this, especially if you're using a razor blade. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to cut these things away from you. But you also want to be careful that you don't cut too fast or too hard, because then you'll end up cutting through the wiring, and that can be a pain in the butt to fix. So I've got these all trimmed. I'm going to do this last one real quick, and then we're going to stick them in the back, see what we got. So stick with it, and I'll be right back. Alright folks, trimming them down like that, that did the trick. Everything's plugged in, it's nice and tight and secured. Everything's where it needs to be. God damn acorns, squirrels. Sorry about that. Anyway, now I just gotta wire these switches up. Look at my schematics real quick and I'll figure out which one's front, which one's back. I had it wired up, but I done forgot. So I'm gonna look at that real quick and I'll get it back together and we'll go ahead and get everything set, get it back together. Stick with me, please. Alright, I got this set up now. In the schematics here, we got purple, blue, green, and yellow. Right here, purple's listed as a right rear fill, blue's left rear dump. I don't have the white or the red or orange or brown. So I used the purple is a fill, blue is the dump, which as you can see right there. And then I used green as a fill, yellow as a dump, as you can see right there. Now, when my setup is facing me, my front is going to be this switch up, down, rear's up, down. So I'm going to slide all that back in, put my center console back together, and we'll get back to it. Alright, so I did a little bit more than what I was going to do. I went ahead and ran the Airline for the tank to the manifold. Here from the tank under the trim. Under where the trim's gonna go, through the firewall. Next to the wiring harness. All under through here, underneath the light. All the way down. Run to the train horns. Now all I gotta do is make a ground on the train horn and run a hot line from the switch, or from a hot spot to the battery, or from the hot spot from a battery or wherever to the switch to the train horns. That's about it for today. That's all we're gonna get done today. Tomorrow, Saturday, next few days, we are going to get them guys hooked up. So I'll see you on the next part of this video. Alright guys and girls, good morning, good afternoon, whatever. I went ahead and I started running my first Airline, just kind of do some test fittings. I drilled me a little small pilot hole there, and then used my Christmas tree bit, that right there, to make the hole big enough for the line to go through. I'm just kind of doing some test fitting, making sure nothing's going to rub. I got it tucked in. I don't know if you can see it or not. There we go. It's kind of wrapped around the bag a little bit. There you go. And it goes back up out of the way where it's not going to rub or anything like that. Now I've got my camber set all the way back too. Just kind of checking something. One of the other YouTubers I watch had an issue where his bags right here would rub. So that's one thing I just kind of wanted to check. And the way he fixed it was he actually took the spindle loose and he grinded it down flat all the way back there. Took, you know, a quarter of an inch or so out of it. I'll put a link in there on his channel. Anyway, I don't know what happened. As I said, I'll put a link in his channel. It's called K-Power Performance. Seems like a pretty knowledgeable dude on a lot of his stuff. Got a pretty nice little EG sedan, beautiful color. Check him out as well. But anyway, you know, we got these going. And if you're into K-Series, if you want to check out another cool build, check out Texas Honda channel. It's got a Mazda B2200 with a K-swap, which is someday the goals for this. The dude builds all kinds of cool, crazy stuff. James is a cool guy that runs the channel. He's got Texas Honda channel and more motorsports. Check him out as well. Definitely check him out. He's got some really cool stuff. He'll help any way he can. I'll probably have him do a lot of helping with me if I K-swap this. Like I said, he is extremely knowledgeable. And if I just boost it, if I have questions, need setup, help, he's the one I'm going to be talking to. Anyway, back to that. I'm going to run this Airline. It's going to go through the grommets, wiring harness. It'll run under the trim right here, that piece, all the way back to the trunk, to the tank, just like the air horn setup did. And then I still got to do some cleaning up. I get them wires tucked, things like that, get my meter out from where I was testing yesterday. And I'll take my lines for the left side and I'll run them down and under to the left, wiring for the right tuck down and run to the right. But that's what I got going right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get that line ran, and then I'll be back with y'all. All right, 100 years later, I got that Airline ran. Driver's side's got these plastic guards for the wiring, so I just ran it through those guards from the front through the wiring harness all the way back here to the back. Now, all I gotta do is cut the line. And when you cut line, don't use a box cutter or a pocket knife. Use something made for cutting line, especially on push connect fittings. That way you get a good squared cut. Because if you don't cut it flat and even, you'll have leaks, you'll have problems. So I'm gonna cut that line, and then I'm gonna start on the passenger side, and I'll show you what all I gotta do on there, and we'll go from there. All right, what we're gonna do here on the passenger side, I don't know if you can really see it or not. The fitting is facing towards the engine bay. So one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop the 2 nuts out of the top, then I'll drop the wishbone down right there. That way I've got room to work, because that fitting's a 12mm, and where it's at right now, ain't no way in the world I'm gonna get a wrench on it. But I'm gonna drop all this down, and then I'm gonna adjust my camber back, and I'll turn the bag a little bit, and I'll mark where I need my hole, and then I'll drill my hole, of course away from the bag, and I'll run a line and we'll start over again. And I'll show you when I got it set where I want it. Alright, I hadn't adjusted the camber yet, but I got the fitting turned, the bag turned where I can get to it easier. And there you can see where I've got my hole. I couldn't put the hole farther back because the way the fitting is, I didn't want to loosen it and risk leaking, so I just kind of popped it up a little bit where I could get to it. I got the bag disconnected where I can drop it down to work on it, to where I can get that fitting on. So basically with these fittings right here, all you do, you just take that off right here. I'm gonna get it off. It's a 12mm. You slide this brass nut over your Airline with the threads facing the coupler, of course. You got that little barb right there. Put your Airline down over that barb and then tighten it back up. Now while you getting ready to get your suspension and stuff ready, one thing you can do before you ever run your Airline, you'll have hell if you don't. I had hell doing my first one. Take your Airline, stretch it out, let it sit in the sunlight for a little bit, or it gets warm and gets pliable, and you can straighten it out easier. It'll be a lot easier to run, and you run a lot less risk of getting kinks and pinches in your line. So I've got the line out there in the sunlight right now. It's warming up, and then I'm just going to run it through one of the ECU harness like I showed you before, and I'm going to run it down the frame like I did the other Airline. When I get all that set up and everything like that, I'll show you more. Alright, earlier how I was telling you about not using a knife, use cutters. You see how it's not flat? That will leak bigger than shit on push connect fitting. Now when I'm press on fittings like I got, it might work, but I'm still going to cut it off anyway. But you don't want your cuts to look like that. That is how you want your cut to look. Flat, not curved. Alright, finally got done with that a year and a half later. The front's hooked up completely, both front, right and left, as you can see right there. Front right, front left. Got the exhaust already hooked in, or I'm sorry, I got the tank hooked in. I got to do an exhaust. I don't know where I'm going to dump it out yet. Probably run me a little line underneath the car, just where you can hear it air out. Next I'm going to do the back. I'm going to start here on the passenger rear I'll get a good look at where I need everything. Find out where that fitting's at. Turn the bag a little bit to where I can get some access to it. A little bit better, that fitting, because it's right now, it's right in the wall. So I'm going to adjust that, and then I'm going to adjust my camber on the back with that piece right there. I'm going to take it all the way back in and see what kind of situation we got. Make sure I'm not rubbing my bag with my wheel, which I got 15 by 9s with a 0 offset, so I don't really see them rubbing, but we'll see. Now I'm gonna get all that situated and set up, and then we'll go from there. Alright, yeah, I know my wheels are filthy. They've been out here covered. Anyway, I know I said I was gonna move that fitting to a different angle, but I ended up dropping it, finding right about where it needed to be marked, and run it straight through the thing, through the frame, the sheet metal into the trunk. Everything fits nice. I got my camber adjustment in the back, pulled as far to the back as it'll go, so I'll be cambered out when it sits. As it sits right now, of course, it's not on the ground, so it's nothing's touching. But if you look underneath here, looks like I will have plenty of room, considering I've got a 0 offset wheel. But I still need to fix that damn lower control arm bushing. But looks like we're gonna have a nice fitment. Alright, next to the other side. Now I've got to do the other side and then put the trim together and everything like that. But the back was the easiest. All you had to do was, you know, drop it out, mark where you needed to drill a hole real quick, run a line through, and hook it up. I'm gonna get on the other side, and then I'll show you everything when it's done. Alright, all my airlines are hooked up except for the one for the exhaust. I ain't decided where I'm gonna run it, how I'm gonna do it yet. So I'm just gonna leave it as it sits. Rear tires adjusted, cambered in as far as it'll go. For now, there is a little trick that you can do to camber them more on these. You remove that back nut right back here in the back, and that'll tighten down farther back and give you some more camber. I'm not trying to get all that right now. Got these old shitty ass lug nuts. I got new ones to put on. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And then the next step's gonna be, you gotta hook the battery up. We're gonna check for air leaks. All you gotta do is get you a bottle of soapy water, spray your fittings on your tank, your compressor, and all your bags, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna get it all tested out and see what we can do. Then after that, we're gonna get all the wheels on and get it off these right here, and we're gonna see how it looks laid out. So stick with me. Alright, so the testing was not successful by any means. I had leaks basically everywhere. That was the only one on the manifold, but every other fucking fitting I put on here leaked. That's why I hate aluminum tanks. I'm too worried about over tightening and busting threads out. So what I did was I took everything apart, put pipe dope on it. And another thing you need to get is a new fitting right there, because that sumbitch ain't worked up. It popped off on me earlier. I guess it don't want to do it now. But anyway, that's the pipe dope I used. Seems like all my leaks are fixed. I'm going to let the compressor cool down. That sumbitch got hot quick because of leaks. So I'm gonna fix all that, get all this cleaned up. I'm gonna rerun, or not rerun, but I'm gonna cover my airlines, put all my trim and stuff back together. Then I've got to figure out the switches on the front, because apparently I didn't have them wired up right. So I just got to figure out which switch does what and go from there on those two little switches right there. When I get back on it, I'll show you what I've done, how it works, and all the good stuff. Till then, I'll see you when I come back. Alright, so I've done everything I could up to this point. All the lines are ran, all the air leaks are taken care of, but I'm having an issue with my manifold. It is not working on one side. So I've emailed TruHart, Civic, and I got a hold of, or rather I got a hold of, I also emailed Airlift about warranty and everything like that. Talked to all of them, see what I needed to do, everything like that. So for the time being, till the manifold gets mailed off, or get an email back or whatever on what's supposed to happen, all I got left to do now pretty much is I'll be wiring up my air horns, everything like that, which I'll show you how I set everything up. I'm going to make a few changes on some other things as well. But for the time being, that's pretty much all I can do is a waiting game. Alright, so like I said yesterday, now I'm just waiting on an email from TruHart about my manifold, warranty services, etc. like that. Apparently their customer service is Monday through Friday. They don't work after like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I don't have weekend customer service, 24-hour customer service, whatever. So, not much else I can do. I come out here and wired up my train horns. And I'll show you how I got that all wired up here in a bit. And we'll even turn the compressor on and give it a little test blast. But for right now, I kind of didn't like how low and far back in my manifold, or not my manifold, but my switch box set, my controller and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out some of this right here. And I'm going to melt it right in there. I don't have AC anyway, and I never run heat blasting in my face in the wintertime. It's always on my feet. So put that there. Then I'll mount my horn button like right here. My switch is right in here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do some little plastic welding, fix that, which isn't hard to do as long as my electricity is working right. Turn my heat gun on, which it's on. Get it nice and hot, and then just kind of melt it together. And then I'm going to use a blade, and I'm going to heat cut this right in here, right where the manifold will sit, just like that. I'm sorry, not manifold, but the screen will fit in just like that. And then I'll take something and I'll make a filler plate to go back there. But that's all I got going on right now. Not really a lot I can do, so I'll need touch-ups while we wait. Make it better, I think. But we're gonna get this going, and when it's done, I'll show you. Alright, that's how it looks so far. Yeah, I got a little gap down there, but you ain't ever gonna see it. I'll find a plate to fill that in and fill that in. Eventually I'll redo everything in fiberglass. That's it so far. Alright, so I got everything back together. The buttons are still a little crooked. I can't ever seem to cut a straight line to save my life. And I got the gauge up there. I think it'll be easier to be riding and just reach over here and instead of having to lean way forward just down here to do it. So now I just got to I got to extend one power wire, because the power wire for the switches that also powers the screen is not very long. They're made to be set side by side, and well, that ain't how I got it. So, but I like how it is. It ain't gonna be nothing to put an extra couple inches of wire in and connect it out. And of course, like I said, I got my train horn, but right now ain't nothing hooked up. I'm waiting on new parts or whatever I gotta do. I gotta wait for an email, really, for confirmation or whatever about my compressor. Not my compressor, I'm sorry, about my manifold. Because like I said, I'm only airing out up and down on one side. For some reason, the passenger side is the only side of the manifold working. The driver's side doesn't want to work. So, got to figure out what the issue is. But, anyway, that's what we got for now. And when I get more done and more going, I'll get back with you. Alright, so I got a little update. TruHart messaged back, said that had to contact Airlift. So I contacted Airlift. Of course, they waited till the very end of the day to contact me. Then they wanted a video of the manifold working or not working. So of course, when they messaged me back again, finally for that, it was late in the afternoon. Got everything done. So today, it's Tuesday. They tell me either I can send them 250 bucks and they'll send me a new manifold, and then I can send them this one back. And then once they receive this one, test it and all that, they'll give me my money back. Or I can ship this one in. So I'm shipping on this. I don't have $250 to wait on them. So I'm going to ship this to them. Let them test it, do whatever it is they got to do for warranty. And then hopefully we'll get it back within a decent amount of time. And then also, when I was putting in these fittings before, you know, I was one short. Well, I contacted Pro Civic. They contacted TruHart. TruHart sent me a whole nother set of them out. So I got these, so it's going to work out great. That's going to go in, get this shipped off soon. I get the label printed. And hopefully we will be back soon and we will be able to air out finally. So when I get more updates, I'll let you know. Alright, so been about a week waiting on my manifold to get back from Airlift. They tested it saying it's good, but my biggest issue, like I said, was couldn't even get it to connect to the controller. I've been back and forth with Airlift on the phone, emails, everything like that, even email with TruHart and Pro Civic, which all have been great. Airlift, they were kind of wonky a little bit. But did some checking and rechecking wiring and things like that. Apparently, I don't know for a fact yet or not, but this plug right here was the problem. Two of the wires in the back, every time I would plug it in, it would push them back out just enough to make a connection. And then when I pull it apart and everything like that, they'd push back in. I don't know what the deal was. Something wasn't seated, locked in right. So we're going to try and see how it is whenever manifold gets back. Of course, TruHart sent out more pigtails like these, which I showed you. Been tinkering on the car, trying to get stuff back together, messing with stuff, odd and end stuff I can do while I wait. And one odd thing. One odd thing is I replaced this blower controller motor, pain in the ass, or blower controller relay rather, to get in and out. Especially when you're a fat boy like me, you got to stand on your head upside down in the seats to get back here to the screws. Well, I replaced it, and my damn fan still won't come on. Now I can hardwire it and bypass it up here at the relay, but then my compressor stays on at all times in the trunk, and I don't want that. I want it to come on when I turn the switches on the relay. That way I can finish bleeding my coolant lines and everything like that. Get rid of that air and heater core and everything like that. Well, anyway, I dropped my socket and it fell behind the carpet. Well, when I pulled that back, I found this. Never heard of them, never even seen them before. It says P28 on the side. I don't know why they would have that in this car, whoever had it before me, because this was a bone stock D16Y7. So, I mean, I opened up the ECU, didn't look like anything added to it. It was just a stock looking ECU. So, I don't know if maybe they had issues with the ECU before and ordered a replacement or not, but this wasn't even hooked up when I had the car. Give me a second, I'll open it up and show you what's inside. And maybe somebody can tell me if it's something special or not. Alright, so here's that ECU opened up. I hadn't opened up one in a long time, especially a Honda ECU. But I don't think anything in here is modified. But maybe if you see something and it is, let me know. I mean, I don't know much about them. I tried to look the company up, and I hadn't had a whole lot of time to sit and mess with it yet and really look to see what it may or may not be. Now, I mean, that little spot right there looks like somebody's done some solder work on it. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know nothing about the company, about the ECUs, anything like that. So, I don't know what happened. Camera cut off. But anyway, if you know anything about this thing, let me know. Let me know if it's worth doing anything with. Well, when a turbo stuff, or not turbo stuff, God, maybe this would be good for a turbo. I don't know. When my air ride manifold gets back and I get through testing everything out, hooking everything back up, I'll get back with you and we'll see what we can do. Alright, I got my manifold back, and after some back and forth with the airlift and everything like that, they said the airlift or the manifold was good. They didn't have any issues with it. I got into messing with the car and everything like that, and like I had stated before, I found a couple of bad spots where the wiring harness just wasn't connected good. The pins were messed up, they weren't locked in right and everything like that. So I got all that fixed, got everything hooked back up, and I actually was able to get the Bluetooth to hook up once, and that's it. But everything works now. So it wasn't the manifold after all. After all the frustration, aggravation, everything I went through, it did turn out to be wiring. It's like every time I'd plug it in, it would push 2 pins back out, just enough where they would make a connection. And I finally got to messing with it and went back, was double checking all my wiring. I was checking continuity with my meter and everything like that, just to make sure I didn't have any breaks in the lines and everything like that. And that's how I actually found that. Even after the guy at TruHart was like, hey, check the plugs, check the connections, which I did multiple times. But like I said, it was like every time I'd plug it in, it would push them back just enough where it looked like they were still connected. So, got it all back together, everything like that. And, well, you see the rest. Alright, so I got everything back together. Manifold still got a few little leaks on it I gotta fix, nothing big deal. I'm still having some issues with the Bluetooth remote wanting to connect and stay connected for my phone, but this little remote right here works. And this is going to be the first official YouTube video of it aired out. It's all the way up right now. Let's drop her down. And she is tucked and laid out. Alright, I still got some finishing touches to do, but that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Alright, this is it. Completely aired out now. I just have to put the interior back together. And we'll have to see how she goes. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving how it tucks, despite all the damn issues I had. Now I'll probably have to do the notching the strut towers for the A-arms to clear to get more low in the front. But for where I'm at right now, she's sitting solid. And back wheels are pretty much touching as well. I'll have to do some more fender rolling and everything like that. But now it's just to fix the little bit of air leak I got, and that'll be it.